you know, we're now live on YouTube. So this is being put on the internet forever now. We don't have a quorum yet, and it's not 7 o'clock, so I'm not going to call the meeting to order quick yet. So how bad is the siren going by? No. Oh,
I think I hear more of it out of my own window than out of your speakers. So
okay.
I don't remember what changes I asked for, Stephen. Let me think.
It was involving the back of the Aldi.
Right. Okay, let me see here. I think it's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. No. Thank you for watching so carefully. Set this up so I can make sure that people can. I'll see people in the waiting room. Well, it's 7 o'clock and we have a quorum, so let's get going. I'm going to call the meeting of the Clintonville Area Commission Zoning and Variance Committee to order. First item on the agenda is to consider the previous meeting's minutes. And I should have put a possessive on meetings, but do I have any changes or a motion to approve? Motion to approve by Diane, and I'll second by Judy. All in favor, just raise your hand. And okay, that's everyone, so approved unanimously. Six to zero. Okay, the first item on the agenda is, actually, I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to check my emails. Sometimes someone emails me telling me that they are stuck on the outside. Something, and I'm going to check to see. Oh, and I do not have anyone here saying that they can't make it on. Okay, so the first item on the variance agenda is BZA 21017, 111 West Dunedin. Homeowner Michael Reeves asked for variances to increase the height of a garage from 15 to 24 feet, reduce the minimum side yard for the garage from 3 feet to 0 feet, which as I understand is where it is now, and reduce the minimum side yard for the house on the other side, so I understand it, from 5 feet to 2.9 feet where it currently is. The applicant said that the city recommended that last one, even though it's not directly connected to the garage, in case he ever wants to do anything to his house, he doesn't have to come back for a variance to rebuild it where it is. Like I said, the way we do this is we'll let Mr. Reeves do a presentation, then do questions from the committee, and then if anyone, I think we have one guest. If anyone wants to, from the public wants to comment, they can either join the Zoom or send me an email at hardwick.zoning@gmail.com, hardwick.zoning@gmail.com. I'll check my email as we during public comment time. Okay, Mr. Reeves.
Hi, thanks. My name is Michael Reeves. I am the homeowner at 111 West Dunedin Road, along with my husband. We've lived here since 2013 is when we moved in and bought our house. Um, Over time, our garage has kind of deteriorated. The previous homeowner cut the bottom back half of the garage off to allow their cars to extend out the backside of it. And so we are now in a position where we want to rebuild our garage and get it fully enclosed instead of just partially enclosed again, close up that backside. And in doing so, we're hoping to do two things. The first is rebuild the garage essentially where it is right now. We would be, we've applied for a variance to go down to a 0-foot side yard setback. I think there's more about a half foot, but currently there's only 1 foot off the side yard, so it would move about 6 inches closer. And that is just to line up with the existing fence. There's currently a gap in between the neighbor's fence and our garage, in which, in talking to the neighbor, we wanted to remove that and line our side of the building up against the fence to eliminate the maintenance hassles we've had with that fence and tear it down and just eliminate it. And then also we want to have a second story on the garage, which would just be for storage or multi-purpose area. We would not be running any water or plumbing to the garage at all whatsoever. We're not trying to make this a second residential quarters or an apartment. It's just, we're in the process of adopting, and we need some more space and love Clintonville and don't want to leave. And it would just help us from that standpoint to have a little more space. I did prepare a couple of exhibits to help kind of explain the hardship. And Stephen, is it okay if I share my screen at this time? Oh, you're muted, Stephen.
If you can't do it, let me know.
Okay.
You should.
Oh, yeah, host disabled participant screen sharing.
Multiple participants. See if you can do it now.
Yep.
Okay.
So one of the things I did, I'm a civil engineer, and so I have access to AutoCAD and AutoTurn software, and our house sits up against our eastern property line, and our drive goes down the west side. And so I made two exhibits. One is the first is showing the garage location and getting the car into the garage, swinging around our house. And you can see it's a really tight maneuver to get the car around the house, in the driveway, and into the garage. If we were to move the garage 3 feet off the property line, we wouldn't be able to actually make that maneuver without hitting the garage. The current garage configuration actually has 4 feet between the two bays. And unfortunately, my husband's already hit the garage a couple times. So, it's just one of those, I guess we all joke, the joys of Clintonville, but, the configuration, if we would have to move the garage 3 feet off the property line, would present a hardship, and it would, in making that second bay really not accessible via car. So I know Stephen shared the letter of support from our neighbor, but one of the other things, and we have, and I kind of holding it up on screen, but this is actually a maintenance agreement, an access and maintenance agreement that our neighbors have already signed and had notarized, which, Stephen, if I need to send this to you, I can. But they've signed and notarized that, allowing us permanent access and into their yard for 5 feet. So in the event that if they ever moved and there was a new homeowner, or we were to move and someone else bought our property, there would always forever be an easement recorded with the county recorder's office, allowing for maintenance to access that side of the garage. As I know, that's a very important issue, is making sure that, we wouldn't be in a position where we couldn't perform maintenance or upkeep on the side of the garage. The other thing is, so the city planning department had made a comment. I had sent them the architectural elevations. And one of the things they said was that, they would be supportive of the variance, so long as the architecture of the garage matched the architecture of the house. And that is something we're very much committed to. And this was, something I sent to the planning department, Michael Merritt and Mark Rustan. And so this is the existing architecture of the house. And so we are committed to building the garage with stained cedar siding and 3-dimensional shingles to match the house. The actual, front elevation of the house of the garage would look like many other Clintonville garages, in which you just have the garages in a window up above, and we would maximize the additional space up above by using dormers. So it's not full 2 stories and then a pitched roof. It's 1 story, the pitched roof, and then dormers to be able to maximize that space. And then the last thing I would note is the site plan. Again, our house is currently 2.9 feet off the property line. And as Stephen mentioned, the city zoning department recommended we get a variance in the event that our house ever caught on fire or there was a tornado, that it would just, if we're doing a variance now, go ahead and get the existing house location variance approved, just so that we wouldn't have to do something in the future in the event that something did happen. So that was the impetus for that variance. It's not related to the garage. It was at the recommendation of the city staff. So with that, that's kind of a quick background on our proposed project. I'm happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Now we do questions from the committee. Yeah, just speak up since it's there if you have a question. Okay, no, I don't hear any questions from the committee. Do either of our guests want to speak to this? Okay, and let me check my messages. Let's see here. Good, I do not for this one. Okay, then if we have no comments no questions by the committee and no comments from the public, then do I have a motion to approve? Is that Sharon, do I see you wave your hand to say you did a motion to approve? Okay, second, and I see Kelly gave the second. No.
Stephen, is there a commissioner district report?
Oh, that's.
I didn't receive any negative feedback. It's in my district.
Thank you.
No negative comments. So I'm good with everything that neighbors don't object to. So thanks.
Okay. Well then,
Steve,
we have a motion to.
can I make one comment real quick first?
Yes.
This isn't, well, I'm always cautious when we're talking about adding onto garages with a full second story like this. I think it's something that we should be concerned about. I understand that the applicant here in this case has said they don't intend to make this a habitable space. But again, this just is one of those that we're starting to push that second floor issue on garages as we constantly are. So it's just something to be concerned about and watch.
Do I have, any other comments from the committee before we vote? Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. And I see it. I see, Judy, do you have a vote on this? Okay, I see everyone but Mike all voting yes. Do I have any no's? Do I have any abstains? Okay, everyone but Michael voted yes. Michael abstained, so that's, oh,
Sorry, Steve. I intended to vote no on that.
oh, you voted no? Okay,
Yeah,
I will
please.
change.
Thank you, sir.
Oops, I want to get it right. Okay, so this goes on to a week, this goes on the agenda of the Clintonville Area Commission a week from tomorrow. You can find the link to it on the webpage on the calendar entry for the day. It's same time, 7 o'clock via Zoom. So if you have any questions, let me know or let your commissioner know.
Thank you so much for
You're
your
welcome.
time.
Oh, thank you for your time and thank you for improving your property. And you can go on with the rest of your evening unless you
Thanks.
really want to watch the rest of the zoning meeting. Okay, next item on the agenda is CV 21022, 306 Leland Avenue. Homeowner Kurt Mortensen asked for variances to allow 2 separate 1-unit dwellings to be constructed on a single parcel to allow a 1-bedroom carriage house over the garage. Property was originally 3 lots. Allow for the carriage house to front on a public alley. And I included the city comments on it in the minutes. And I don't know if anyone else had a chance. I did go by and look at it today. I'll let the homeowner talk if you'd like. Give a presentation if you'd like. Mr. Mortensen, are you here? Oh,
I'm sorry, my presentation won't be nearly as compelling because I don't know how to do all that computery stuff. But we have a house, a 2-bedroom house that was built, and there's discussion between 1913 and 1917. It's had a couple of little weird dog leg appendages grow onto it over the years. And I think in the 70s, this fairly large for a 2-car garage was added about 10 feet away. The neighborhood was plotted, I believe, after the house was built. So I think they just kind of laid a grid over the property, and there are 3 distinct lots that are encompassed in our one property. The one closest to Leland is empty, just grass. The 2-bedroom house sits on the second one down the alley from Leland. The 2-car garage sits on the third one down the alley from Leland. And we also own an additional lot, which we kind of think of as the 4th lot to the north of the garage. So we'd been looking for places for a decade that would be usable for like an extended family kind of homestead or something. There was talk way back when about, finding a place to move my in-laws into. The time for that has passed, but my brother-in-law, was always looking with us. So we found a property with some room with a fixer-upper on it, and talked to zoning a year and a half ago when we bought it, and they suggested that there might be variances needed, but it seemed like a pretty doable project. So we're just kind of following through on what we had intended all along. So what we want to do, since my wife and we have college-age kids that are in and out at this time of their lives, probably going to be that way for a few more years. But my wife and I would like to have the 2-bedroom house for ourselves. And my brother-in-law then would like to move into a 2-bedroom house, including and above the garage. Keep it all on the same property. We're all the family. We owned our last house for 19 years. And, we plan to retire. Okay. So we're just looking for a few variances because it is officially 1 property, not 3. Just looking for a few variances to, have a small side yard with a parking space because we need to show 4 parking spaces. We need limited setback from the parking space. We need permission to build not on a street because the extension of Delawanda North was never built. It's shown on the auditor's map as future or something like that. So it's just kind of a unique property all around, and we're just trying to create living space that works for our extended family. I don't know if you've all seen drawings of the lot layout.
Is it in the application?
Yeah.
If it's in the application, they've seen that's been distributed.
Basically, we want to add a second story and finished or conditioned attic for storage above that on the existing garage. And it would be accessible off the alley because there's no real road frontage because De La Wanda was never built or never put in.
Can I clarify are these three lots being combined into one lot now?
They are conjoined because, like I said, I think they always were, but when the neighborhood was laid out, they so if you look on the auditor's site, the auditor's map, it shows in light line the three lots, and they're all numbered, but they are conjoined, I think, just because they never were separated out of that grid pattern.
So the garage, the carriage house would be on a separate city lot, as the city calls them.
It's hard to explain. I don't think that's exactly accurate. I'm just trying to designate how much land we actually own. It's almost half an acre that the house and the garage sit on.
Do the tax people consider it multiple parcels, or is it all in the same parcel number?
So we own one large parcel with the house and the garage on it. We own a separate parcel to the north, which is just a single lot around 44 by 160. So we do have two parcels for tax purposes.
So I'm looking at the auditor's site right now, and the second parcel 010299996. Is that where the garage or carriage house is going to sit? Or is it going to sit on the larger parcel?
It's sit on the larger parcel. You should
Okay.
see the garage already existing on that parcel.
Yes. And
So
that's-
you aren't
Yeah.
tearing down the existing garage, you're just building onto it.
Proposing to take the roof structure off and add a story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think they're building about a big 2 or 3 story house across the street from you. Is that new to the neighborhood?
Very near to the neighborhood. Yeah. So that's basically a 3-story house directly across the alley to the east. And there's a very large, I'd call it a 2.5-story, 2 lots to the north of us, directly flanking the Graceland property where they're building that new apartment city. It's west
we
of the
approved a variance for that for the house that's right adjacent to Graceland. The other one across the
I
street.
may have heard about that, maybe. Yeah,
So the garage probably doesn't have plumbing or anything right now. You'll have to add that to the.
Right. So we would need to update the electrical, probably get a new feed separate meter for the electrical. And I think it's just going to come down to construction documents about how we do the plumbing. But yes, we will need new plumbing. It sounds like in the reading I've done, we'll need a separate supply tap, but we might be able to tie into our existing sewer. But that all comes with construction permitting and such.
Will it have its own address or be an apartment or?
I think it can, unless we divide the lot, but I thought we'd probably just use one mailbox and maybe informally call it apartment B or 306C or B or something like that. But we don't have any intention of giving it its address. If it's Greg's mail, I'll just say, Greg, here's your mail, and hand it to him.
So following that thought, if you did do a parcel split, would you need to get a variance for what it is that you want to do? I mean, couldn't it just be built as a single family house at that point?
Yeah, so I think in talking to neighbors down the street, for example, there were variances required in that instance because of front yard, backyard, where the house sits on the lot, the road that doesn't exist, and all those things come into play as well. So we probably would have to get variances because of the parking situation then for the 2-bedroom house. And when I first contacted the city about variances, they suggested 7 to 10 possible variances, and we researched it down to these few. So I'm not going to claim to be an expert on that, but I suspect we would need some kind of variance or two somewhere to do that as well. It's like a house without a road.
Okay, I'll just say the other comments I'll read. Commissioner Weatherholt from a different district said that she couldn't attend, but she'll watch this when it plays, but she's not sure a carriage house in the neighborhood is the way to go, but she'll wait to hear the presentation. Kendra Carpenter is the commissioner for the district. I haven't heard opinion from her, and I just sent an email to her work email address as well as her commissioner address, and I don't see anything, and she wasn't able to respond within 5 minutes. So do we have any other I guess I'll get my comment.
Do you have any plans for that third lot?
We're thinking about it. I think the lot that is separate right now, we might like to build on in a few years to sell a house. I'm in construction, so I'm always dabbling with that. But we've talked about a lot of things. I don't have any hard plans. I don't know what the future will hold. Just I know that we're staying here till we retire or longer. That's the plan now anyway. So maybe.
Am I right? It seems that this little corner of Delawanda has been discovered as someplace very nice as a nice quiet away from everything. It looks like the trend there is to build bigger than was there. It looks like it was a working class neighborhood. Do you think it's a working class neighborhood 30 years ago that's kind of shifting? I don't know if our
look at the lot overlays. The lots are so much smaller than. Well, I guess the lots are so much smaller than other places in Clintonville. A lot of the original homes that were built to the grid don't have off-street parking or garages or anything like that. So, yeah.
I should have. The city planning did say they support it because they thought that this was consistent with the neighborhood plan.
Can I just also say, I think I was expecting more in the elevations department.
Okay.
I think that would probably be helpful if you had.
I can try this. I'm sorry for my lack of. Can anybody see that at all?
Yeah, I can see the.
We can see the top of it.
Yes.
We can see the top part.
There you go.
It's kind of Cape Coddy salt boxy, to increase the slope of the roof, I think gives more to the character of the neighborhood than the 412 pitch roof that's on the garage now, which just looks like a garage that was built in the 60s. It also provides us with some storage space up there. That's the only elevation I have. The back would look just like that, but with sliding glass doors and more windows and a deck that faces the woods. This would be the alley side. And I can provide more drawings.
That would be helpful when you're before the commission to have for the 4 sides and a little more detail. Yeah.
If you don't think you'll be able to screen share, send them to me right away, and I'll just as a courtesy, I'll note in the minutes that they weren't presented, but I'll just put them there for the commission's information. If you could send them either PDF or JPEG format.
Okay.
Worst comes to worst, just take a picture of it and
do my best. I'll get tech support, i.e. my wife, involved, and we'll send some pictures out.
Do I have any other comments do I have any comments from the public? Let me go back.
Was there any input from neighbors?
That was my
Um, I believe letters went out. I've gotten a few emails in support saying good luck with your project, or texts. There's a fairly active neighborhood Facebook group, one person way up towards High Street. Everyone's very concerned about potential future development at the mobile home park up the road. So there's a little bit of fear that by adding a carriage house, it's going to promote a 600 unit development on a postage stamp, but it's not really that kind of thing we're going for. So to us, it's an extension of an extended family home that we plan to stay in, and that's that.
And just for the record, I sent him the note. If he got the notice in the mail, his notice went into the mail the same time as all of his neighbors' notice went into the mail. It might also be helpful to send those comments so that the commission can see them. No, I don't mean don't take them off the private Facebook page. But so that people can see what your neighbors said.
Should I seek written comments
What?
to share? Should I seek written comments
I think
to share at the next
Yes.
meeting? Okay.
Yes, because and yes, you should. If you have written comments to share to support it, I think that some commissioners might find that important. Might also be good to reach out to, if you notice in the notice, I gave the address for Kendra Carpenter, who is your commissioner, just to reach out so that you and at least you two will know what each other will be saying a week from tomorrow. So that, and
I made contact via email with her several weeks ago, but not recently. So I will check back in with her.
seeking comments from your neighbors is helpful, especially the most directly affected. That means a lot.
Okay. I'll ask the people with the tallest houses that surround me and see how that goes.
and if they really need to, and they don't want their name to be public, they can use their initials.
Just purely aesthetic. Do you think it will look weird that the garage is 2-story while the house is 1-story ranch?
I think it'll look interesting. It's unique, but if you stood in my driveway right now and turned 360 degrees, you'd see that it wouldn't be an issue, because tall house kind of surrounding me. And even the house across Leland from us is pretty elevated on the ground. So I'm looking up at its roof pretty high. So it'll be unique for sure, but I don't think it's a detriment. I'll show you a picture of the house they're being built across the alley that was referred to earlier, and that might help too.
Okay. Any other questions or comments before we put this to a motion? Okay. Yes.
I just have a comment real quick. I think given the highly kind of irregular property line that you're sitting on there, and the fact that you're forced to go onto the alley, I can't really see how this would, impact any of the neighborhood in a negative way, especially since your property sits a little bit off Leland Avenue. But that's just my general comments. I don't see how it would really impact anybody in a negative way. But like the other folks have said, it would be helpful if you had some written comments from your neighbors.
And I know the city has told me that if people do put in carriage houses, that they expect, I think it's separate water taps, and the city charges a lot of money for that. So
I've become painfully aware of what the city charges for water and sewer taps. Ouch. Yeah.
So it's any other, since there aren't a lot of people here, I don't mind being a little less formal. Any other comments from anyone? No, you just make my promise and check.
Steve, I'll make a couple comments.
Yes.
again, what we usually do with garages is we are okay with the height variance, assuming that you're trying to match the architectural details in the house. And right now, I'm not seeing that. I mean, we don't have any feedback on what the garage is going to look like. The house is already 1 story, so you're clearly not trying to match the house with the 1 story. We've always tried to avoid in garages adding habitable space. That has been a big concern of this committee's since we started talking about it. And that's exactly what these guys are trying to do. And I think we want to be cautious here about allowing this because it's going to set a precedent up there. And we don't have a lot of details on what the future plans for the site are. We don't have any elevation drawings, which would help us in this. So I'm concerned that we don't have enough information here to really say yes or no on this one.
I kind of feel the same way. I would rather have Commissioner Carpenter's report. And I'm sure when you had your preliminary meeting with the city of Columbus, did they suggest that you attach the garage to the house to kind of simplify the process, or just eliminate a variance? Because you can make it look however you want if it's attached to the house, right? And it's just when it's detached that we might be creating a weird precedence to have 2 dwellings on 1 lot.
In my preliminary discussions before we bought the lot, I guess that was in the summer of 19, that didn't come up, but she just said, oh, I think we'll have to watch your setbacks and you might need a variance for that, but this seems doable. In recent discussions with zoning, that did come up, introduced by me, and I'd have to go back through emails. There was a reason that I can't remember that she thought that was not going to be helpful. And I just don't remember what that was. Whether it
Can
was...
Can you put a second kitchen in? I mean, if they put a second kitchen in the house, don't you still have the 2 dwelling issue? I don't know.
It may have been the expense of foundation under an extension of the house. And the beauty of this plan is it eliminates the cost of all of the foundation and earthwork, except for utilities. But that was discussed about a month or 6 weeks ago. It was kind of decided against, and I just can't remember why. Whether it was something the city objected to generally or something I objected to for cost. And the terms second unit and carriage house are the city's terms. To us, we just want to build a place for Greg to live. So I'm not that concerned with what it's called, but I think carriage house has a negative connotation because some people don't like rental units, but for us, it's just a place for our family to live. I can provide, I have drawings. I just actually didn't realize they were going to be necessary for this meeting. I can get those in, and I can get them in the next day or 2.
Do you have them that you could just put up on the screen, or are they?
Well, yeah, let me dig through. I don't know.
If it's not easily accessible, then that's okay.
They're sitting here on my desk. I just
Because we could see the elevation just fine.
I guess the other question, Steve, I also have is that this is a council variance that we're looking at here, not a BZA adjustment. So can we clarify what the difference is there again, just so everybody's aware?
I believe it has to go there because they're asking to, I think it's to allow 2 separate one. I think it's because they want to allow two separate one-unit dwellings on the same property that
Right. So
it triggers the council.
Mhm.
And then everything else goes with it.
again,
Once it's a council
just
variance,
it's a little outside of what we normally do, because normally we're doing zoning adjustments. And so this is a council variance. So I think it should raise it to a higher level of scrutiny than just a normal zoning variance. So.
This is just taking notes. Okay, well, you don't think you're able to find it?
I don't think anything's going to be legible. This is a drawing of the parking spaces and what will be the garage level with parking for one car and space carved out to have an interior conditioned hallway and stairwell on the floor level.
Okay.
So the stairs are on the back side that go up to the level with the sliding glass door and the windows that face the woods. And that's what I have sitting on my desk right now. I'd have to dig for other things.
Okay, that's fine. Just make sure you get them to me by this weekend is when I'm going to put together the draft minutes. So if you get them to me in the next couple of days, I can draft. I'll make a note that they weren't presented at the meeting, but just do it as a courtesy for the commission so that we can put everything in a package for them.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments before we vote? Okay. I'm gonna go through everyone one by one just because I don't. Michael. Oh, Diane has one more question.
I move to approve.
Oh, that would help, wouldn't it? Any second? Okay, Michael.
No.
Okay, Michael McLaughlin.
You're right. This does fall outside what we typically do. But I think that's one of our purposes of being here. Given the lot's location and the size of the lot, stuff like that, I think what the property owner wants to do at that location on that lot would be appropriate. So I vote yes.
Diane.
I'm also concerned about the precedent. We're always skating on this line, and I think this would be a big departure from what we typically deal with garages. And when you think about the fact that there are three lots there, there's a place to put another dwelling if that's the intent or desire. So I'm voting no.
Okay, Kelly.
I agree with Mike that Mike McLaughlin, that it's a unique area, a unique property, and I'm voting yes.
Okay, Judy.
I don't think I have enough information right now, and I'd like to see the neighborhood commissioner's report, especially since it's a council variance. It's a much bigger deal than what we usually do, so I'm going to abstain.
And just see, Judy Minister's on the commission, so you'll see her again next week. Andrew.
I'm voting yes. I also agree. I think it's in quite an irregular type of property, and given the location and the size, I think makes sense.
Sharon. So take your time while I tally the other votes.
Sharon, you were muted.
And I believe that passes, but it was, we have 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's see, we have, sorry, I want to make sure I get this right. Michael Hobb, no. Yes. No.
Yes,
Yes.
no.
I'm just going down. Diane was no. Kelly was yes. Judy was abstain. Andrew was yes. No, Andrew was yes. Sharon was yes. And I will vote yes as well because it's a strange, it's a quirky little neighborhood, and the thing that put me over the top was seeing the 3-story house, the conforming house going in across the street. I think this little corner of Clintonville is in for some change in the next 10 to 15 years because it's such a beautiful little area that used to be working class, and I think there are people who are people with lots of money who are starting to notice it now. Maybe the realtors will tell me I'm wrong about that, but that's what it looks like from my perspective. So this will go to the full commission, and we are just make sure we are recommendations. So the commissioners commissioners have their own independent thoughts. So I think, and Kendra's view will make a big difference to some of it. Kendra's will be influential. I'm never going to say what will make a difference. Her opinion is important because it's her district, and also getting the neighbors' support. Anything you get me by this weekend, I will include in the minutes so that'll be part of the public record in advance. And again, it's a week from tomorrow. Go to the Clintonville Area Commission's website and on the day of the meeting, and you will find a Zoom link for the meeting. Do you have any other questions?
No, thank you for your time. I will get you the information requested.
Okay, thank you very much. Do I have any objection to adjourning? Without objection, adjourning at 7:45. Thank you all.
I have a quick question.
Okay.
Where is Kelly? Where are you, Kelly?
Oh, my background. Sorry, my home office is like in a room that is actually like my dressing room. So there's like clothes and everything behind me. So anyway, this is the Hudson Prairie that Flo installed by 71 in front of Lowe's.
It's so pretty. It's very soothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.